Hey, Keith McCrone here from the Ultimate Track Day Experience, and thank you very much for joining me on this video. Sorry it's coming a little late, but a few weeks ago we were at Road America. Next week we go off to Mid-Ohio, and at the end of the month we're at Watkins Glen. So you can imagine we have a lot on our plate right now. But I want to talk about a couple things. One, I hope you had the opportunity to watch the Indy 500 last weekend, and congratulations to Michael Shank. I personally know Michael. We used to race together back in the SCCA days. And I also want to congratulate Helio Castroneves, right? So Michael Shank's first win in Helio Castroneves, that is his fourth win. So now we have our fourth four-time winner, which I think is great. And that's the reason for this particular video, because if you did get a chance to watch it, I think they did a great job talking about behind the scenes and Helio Castroneves and say Michael's plan to execute to win this 500, which I think is great. If you go on YouTube, you can watch Helio Castroneves talking about this plan and how they went about to execute to win this Indy 500. And that's the key. And they're not the only one that has a plan. Trust me, all 33 teams, they all have a plan when they're going to compete at the Indy 500. And obviously the goal is either to finish the race, maybe finish in the top 10 and or win that. But they have a goal to be able to accomplish that. The key is to make sure that you follow that particular goal or the steps to get to that goal and try to minimize mistakes. And that kind of brings me to what I want to talk about on this particular video, because we do the same thing with the Ultimate Track Day Experience. Because trust me, I know I everything from racing the cars to testing the cars. There's a lot going on for a driver when you're going there. Especially for somebody that's campaigning your own vehicle. So now you not only, I want to say, working on sharpening your driving skills when you're there, but you also got to make sure the car's prepped and everything's ready to go. So I get it, there's a lot going on. So we want to take all that from you, and that's exactly what we do. So not only are we going to provide the car and make sure that there's tires on it, we're going to make sure that there's fuel inside of it, and making sure that everything is, let's say, tightened on the car, and you're not going to have anything that's going to be failing on you out there. But also we want to make sure that we work with you as far as a driver's coach. And the reason why you want that, and the reason why that's important, is because you want to make sure that you have a plan, just like Helio Castroneves and Michael Shank had. And why do you want to have this plan? Because I like to say that typically when you have a plan, when you're going to a track, you know what the objective is, and you're focusing on the goal and the steps to get there. And you're not letting everything else that's going on out there affect you. And what are some of those other things? Well, you might have, let's just say, some situations that's happened in the past that's still inside your head and you're thinking about that a lot. It might be something where there's other drivers that are bending at your ear, like, watch out for the track very slick today, or be careful with this particular driver, he's never looking in his mirrors. Some of that might be true, some of it might not be true, but it's something we don't need to be listening to at that point in time. So that's why we have what I call this driver's curriculum here. So it's a driver's training curriculum, and it depends on what your goals are. So if your goals are, when you go to the track, you've never been there before and you're really new, well, there's some things that we need to focus on you. And if you're somebody that's been a little bit more experienced, let's say maybe you competed or you have drove at that track, well, there might be some different things that we're going to be focused on with you. So what are some of the things that we're going to focus on with that new driver? Well, let's face it, you've never been in one of our race cars before. So I know when I get in a new car, there's some things that I have to make sure that I'm comfortable with so that I can do the job that is at hand for that particular day or the 2 days. And the first thing is we got to make sure that you're fitting inside the car comfortably. So what we're going to do is make sure the seating position is correctly, make sure that the belts are fitting correctly. We're going to make sure the steering wheels are where it needs to be at, and then we're going to make sure you're close enough to the pedals. That's just one step of it. From that point, I want to make sure you know how to start the vehicle. There is a Motec system that's inside this vehicle, so we want to make sure you know how to use the shift lights if you have it in manual mode. We also want to make sure you can see, clearly what gear you're in. And also want to make sure that you know what the lap timer on the Motec system. So you're going to know what your best lap time is, and if there's any gain loss on the lap that you're on, that you clearly understand how you're doing. So that's kind of the basic stuff. And again, if you haven't been to the track before, we send you a track map. I want to go ahead and I want to break the track down into 3 sectors. And each sector, we're going to be talking about what gear you need to be in, also where the braking points are, and also reference points for turn in, apex, and exit. And if there's going to be 3 sectors, there's going to be almost like there's going to be 3 sessions that you're going to have to go through to be able to get the entire track down. And then from that point, we're going to analyze video just to make sure we can hold ourselves accountable to make sure we have the car positioned right on the track. A little bit more advanced are some things that we move into, such as maybe analyzing data, right? So we're going to be looking at throttle and brake traces. There's other things that we're going to be doing. We're going to be looking at maybe corner entry speed, also apex speed. We're going to be looking at trail braking. We're going to be doing all kinds of things. There's other things that I also want to make sure that we focus on too, is consistency. Oftentimes they see driver where they're inconsistent, right? And I think the inconsistency comes from they don't know exactly where the reference points are on the track, and they're not focusing on that. So they're just using their peripheral vision, if you will, to know where the braking point is at or the turning point, and they don't have something that's a reference that they can go to. So we're going to be working on that so that we can get some consistency. We want you to be relaxed and smooth. Now, how do you become relaxed and smooth? Well, if you have a clear plan that you need to execute, that certainly helps with you being in control. When you're in control, you're a little bit more relaxed. You're not in the car tense. It gives you the opportunity to feel the car that's underneath you. And then last, situational awareness. Very, very important. We want to know exactly where all the corner workers are at. Again, how easy it is to get on the track, get off the track. These are all things that go through drivers' heads that maybe we forget about because we've been doing it for so long. But if you're somebody that's new, it's like these are things that are going through your head. We're going to make sure that all those things are checked off on the boxes so that you become a little bit better with situational awareness. Not to mention when you're on the track, when do we look in the mirrors? When are we focusing the mirrors? Because we don't want to drive a car from behind us. We want to drive a car from ahead of us. So we're going to be working on that situational awareness with you and making sure that you're comfortable inside the car. Again, I thank you very much for joining me on this video. And if you have any questions, you can always get a hold of us at info@utde.racing, or the phone number is down below. I look forward to seeing you at the track, and thank you very much.